My name is Officer Eli Begay. I worked as a tribal police officer on the Navajo Nation, mostly around the Utah border. Tourists think of our land as open sky, red rock, and peaceful desert. But they don't know what moves between those rocks after sundown. What follows the wind? What uses the night like a doorway? I've seen things out there that I still can't explain. And this is the night that made me quit the force. It was late October, the kind of cold night where even the dogs don't bark. I was parked near Comb Ridge when dispatch radioed in. Unit 4, possible welfare check. Caller report screaming from a trailer off Black Mesa Road. The thing about Navajo land is, addresses don't work like city addresses. People live in isolated trailers miles apart, with roads that barely exist. I arrived near 11 p.m. There was one trailer, old white aluminum, half sunk into the desert. A single porch light flickered like it was drowning in darkness. I stepped out of my cruiser. And instantly, I felt it. That pressure. Like the entire desert was holding its breath. An old teaching from my grandmother crawled into my mind. When the night becomes too quiet, it's because something is listening. I approached slowly, hand near my holster. Before I even reached the door, I heard it. A scraping sound inside the trailer. Not like furniture. More like something crawling on the walls. Tribal police. I called out. Anyone inside? Do you need help? Silence. Then. A wet, dragging sound. My stomach tightened. I pushed the door open. The smell was the first thing that hit me. Rot. Old blood. And dirt, like the inside of a grave. The living room was destroyed. Couch torn apart, claw marks on the drywall. Not human claw marks. 7 inches long. My flashlight drifted across the room until it stopped on the floor. A shape. A person curled up in the corner, faced away from me. Ma'am? Sir? Are you hurt? They didn't respond. I took a step closer. Then another. Then. Their neck twitched. Too fast. Too sharp. Like an animal reacting, not a person. Don't move, I ordered. They turned their head slowly. But the head didn't turn all the way. The face stopped halfway, the body still twisted the wrong direction. A low, rattling breath escaped its throat. That's when I finally saw the eyes. They weren't human. Too clouded, too reflective. Like something wearing a person's face, but not understanding how to use it. Then it smiled. But there were too many teeth. My hand went for my gun. But the thing moved first. It scuttled across the floor on all fours, limbs bending in impossible angles, heading straight toward the back door. I yelled and gave chase, but by the time I reached the doorway, it was already outside. Running into the open desert on all fours, faster than any human should move. And the worst part? It laughed. Not a human laugh. A broken, wet sound, like it was learning how to mimic us. Backup was 20 minutes away. I didn't wait. I followed the tracks it left behind in the dust. Except they weren't footprints. They weren't even paw prints. They were something in between. Long. Deep. 3-toed. Like whatever I saw was still changing. Half a mile from the trailer, I found a small open clearing surrounded by juniper trees. The track stopped there. Completely. Something rustled above me. I pointed my flashlight upward. And froze. Something was crouching in the branches, gripping the wood with 2 long fingers. Its skin was stretched thin, almost transparent, veins pulsing underneath. But that wasn't what terrified me. It was its face. It wasn't the same face from the trailer. It had changed. This one was longer. More wolf-like. But still wrong. Like it hadn't decided what it wanted to be yet. It opened its mouth slowly. And whispered. Eli. My name. I'd never told it my name. I stepped back. The branch it perched on creaked. Then snapped. The creature dropped from the tree and landed on all fours without making a sound. It looked up at me. And its body twisted again, bones cracking, skin stretching, trying to rearrange into something else. It was trying to become something. Maybe someone. And I had no idea who it had seen before me. It bolted toward Red Canyon, moving faster than anything on 2 legs, or 4, should move. I ran after it, stumbling over rocks, adrenaline drowning every thought. The deeper I went, the colder it felt. No wind. No insects. Nothing living. Just me, and the thing. I stopped when I reached the first canyon wall. Carved into the sandstone were ancient symbols. Protection symbols. Old Navajo ones. My grandmother had painted the same symbol above her door. To keep out those who walk in borrowed skin. As I approached, something shifted behind me. The creature was now crawling along the canyon wall sideways, clinging to the rock like a spider. Its head twisted completely upside down to look at me. It whispered again. Let me in. Not physically. Into me. My thoughts. My identity. I stepped back, raising my gun. For a moment it hesitated, like it didn't recognize the weapon. Then it lunged. I fired. The shot echoed through the canyon. But the thing didn't scream. It didn't bleed. It simply staggered, stared at the bullet wound. And began to heal. Skin closing like wet clay. "No," I whispered. Then it spoke in a perfect human voice. A voice I'd heard earlier that night on the radio. "Unit 4, you there? Respond." It had copied dispatch. Perfectly. That was the moment I realized it wasn't hunting me. It was learning me. My flashlight flickered. A wind rushed through the canyon. Icy cold, filled with whispers. Not voices. Not English. Older. Like prayers said backwards. The creature's body jerked and twisted violently, as though the wind was pulling it apart. It screeched. A sound so sharp it made blood drip from my ears. Then it froze. Its body went limp, collapsing onto the canyon floor like a puppet with its strings cut. I didn't go near it. I ran. All the way back to my cruiser. Backup arrived shortly after. When we returned to the canyon, the creature's body was gone. No tracks. No blood. Just a small pile of dust where it had fallen. One of the Navajo Rangers whispered. Something answered the wind tonight. I quit the force the next morning. But sometimes, when the wind gets too quiet at night, I swear I still hear it. Whispering. Learning. Waiting.